You don't wanna change it now. Work for me, rearrange your style. Should've never been allowed to get all your fake asses out. We shut it down like the enemy. LA, make some noise if you're feeling me. I was working in a record shop right outside the city, Street Corner Music. That was like the first platform I had at retail for selling records. And Jay came in one day and he was just digging and going through records, and he struck up a conversation and he got to talking. This was right before like all the Tribe shit went down. Like it was kind of in negotiations about him putting the work in for them. And he played me some shit. He's driving a white Ford Ranger, and he put a tape in, and I was like, wow. Yeah, this is what's up right here.
I first found out about him through House Shoes. I put out a record called Peanut Butter Breaks in 1994, and House Shoes was working at a record store, and I was sending the records to him, and he was like, oh, you got to hear my man Dilla. You know, he was really holding the torch for this guy who I'd never heard of, you know, didn't have anything out, and he was just really proud of him that it was this guy from Detroit that was making music, you know, that's so powerful.
They came through with the Fantastic Volume 1 cassettes, brought me like 20 of them, and the spot would be greasy at times, like, you know, there'd be backdoor shit going on, and what I would usually do is, if it was somebody that I really wanted to have it, I just slide it in the bag, and then, you know, when it comes time to take it to consignment, oh look, all 20 tapes are gone, you're getting paid for them anyway. So these cats from Manhattan Records were in town, which at that time Manhattan Records in Japan was like the biggest record store in the world. And we were chopping it up, and I gave them the tape, and from that handoff, you know, that's how the Fantastic, 12-inch came about.
I went to Japan, and I was on tour with the Visionaries. Babu and myself were going record shopping, and we happened to go to Manhattan Records, and they would do a lot of exclusive stuff from the United States that only sell in Japan. The buyer at the time, the hip-hop buyer at the time, his name was Toshi. Toshi says, yo, you know, have you heard of J D? Say, yeah, you know, like, you know, he has a group called Slum Village. It's like, nah. So he plays the record. First thing he played was I Don't Know. And we were like, Babu and I were like bugging the hell out, like how he would flip, how he used James Brown with the song, you know, I don't know. T, 3, 1, 2, you know, like just you're playing and stuff. Personally, I bought like at least about 15 or 20, bring back home with me. I pretty much hooked up the crew with the vinyl and stuff, and then the junkies were the pretty much the ones that broke Slum Village in LA.
For some reason, they just took to it out here. Toronto and Los Angeles were like the first two markets outside of Detroit that really got on it, and that's because they're, like I said, hip-hop wise, LA has always been way ahead, you know, with like Freestyle Fellowship and Blow, just like lyrically way ahead of the game. And Toronto, they just love good hip hop.
The production on all the early Slum Village stuff just immediately grabbed my attention. It was like, what the hell is this? You know, this is like a dream come true for hip hop music.
My boy Jake One, he used to always give me Dilla stuff. He had a link, I don't know who his link was, like House Shoes and a couple other people, but back then, like 96, 95, early 97, there was already a community of Dilla heads. Like, you know, there was already people, yo, I got this dude JD's new beat tape, or I got his new demo, or, you know, so that stuff was already floating around.
Like that's how Dilla would shop beats, is he would make beat tapes, you know, not too dissimilar to what Donuts is, you know, like you know, a compilation of minute-long ideas, musical ideas that could be turned into songs. And so Jay got his hands on a bunch of the ones from I guess it would have been the early 2000s or the late 90s.
I told Madlib I had one, and he just like, yo, you got a what? So I dubbed it for him, and he just went and made a bunch of songs over those beats.
Madlib got a hold of a lot of Dilla tapes and started rapping over Dilla's beats. And we came up with this idea, because I was working on a mixtape, and this is before Serato, and I came up with the idea to do like a vinyl so that I can like mix and scratch with it. And I put one song of theirs on it, and we did like 200 copies or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I remember hearing some of the first results, like the Stereo Lab chop, and the one that Busta Rhymes rapped over subsequently, and just being blown away. Just hearing Madlib. I mean, Madlib's a great MC, but you know, just like Dilla, you know, like two really good MCs, but not always rapping. You know what I mean? More making beats. But hearing Madlib over Dilla sounded real good.
We didn't even tell Dilla, actually, you know, when we did it. And Dilla called me up afterwards, and he's all, yo, what's up with that bootleg, man? And I wasn't sure if he was like, what's up, like I'm pissed off at you, or what's up, you know? And I was like, oh, yeah, you know, because I'm doing this mix, and I needed the song. And he was like, yo, man, let's do some shit like that, but official. So we came up with the idea of Madlib rapping over Dilla beats for half the album, and Dilla rapping over Madlib beats for the other half.
Now, I as a DJ, you know, was just waiting. Once I began to hear from Egon and Havana Joe about what was going on, and people were just talking about, oh yeah, you know, I just heard some stuff the other day. J-Rock would talk about, you know, oh, I heard something, and man, it was crazy, and this and that. And I mean, it was exciting because the only thing that could happen was some sort of a meeting of the minds that would influence the two of them together.
Emotionally, they both speak from a similar kind of place. I think in their music, that's what makes them better, different than most of the other cats that touch a drum machine. You know, is that they're able to reach emotional places with their music that other cats don't get to.
He had sent like the 2002 batches, is 5 volumes with like 25 beats on each of them. He had sent them to Madlib. Get a knock on the door, UPS man shows up with an envelope. He opens it up, it's a CD, takes it out, puts it in, and it's like 15 songs. And we were trying to figure it out because he said that he sent Madlib the beat tapes like 3 or 4 days ago. So we were just trying to figure out how it was humanly possible for somebody to do that.
And when he was, you know, sending the stuff back and forth with Madlib, we didn't expect in any way that he was going to pick the beats that he picked.
So we were all sitting around in the basement, and we were listening to these beats, and I mean, it's Madlib beats, you know what I mean? Like, so there's some bangers on it, like it was some stuff on there that was just like, holy crap. Like, a lot of the stuff that ended up with on the J Lib record, you know what I mean? Like, bangers. And McNasty Filth, while it was a good beat, it just wasn't one of the ones that immediately struck us like, ah! And for Dilla, I think a lot of times making records was about the challenge.
CD came back from Dilla in the FedEx, and I was like, Madlib, what the fuck? Why did he pick that? And I was like, you know, but it's dope, you know, and it was dope. It was like, you know, kind of like sends shivers down your spine dope, you know, like that he chose all those beats. And Madlib's picking all these beats that kind of referenced the Dilla that had made all the money, you know, revolutionizing commercial hip hop and neo soul or whatever, you know. But Dilla was there picking shit that didn't sound anything like the stuff he was, you know, known for making.
And then he started actually doing shows with us out of town, and that was another thing where, like, I never wanted to ask him to do shows because I knew even that back then his health was like off and on, you know. And he was like really like encouraging us, like that he was down to do the shows and stuff, and he was. I mean, we did a lot of shows with him before he moved to LA, you know, and they were all really special, and I think just that energy like kind of gave him the need to move here too.